Good afternoon, everybody. Still trying to solve the mystery of how I keep going through this pattern of gain 3 subscribers, lose one, gain 3, lose one, gain 3, lose one. Is it something I said? But yeah, it's just a pattern and a mystery that I can't seem to crack, and that drives me crazy. INFJs are good at accepting things and knowing that we can't change them sometimes, but it's the not knowing why something happened, that'll drive us insane and into an NITI loop. But alas, this is not an INFJ video. I was, reading some posts in one of the narcissism groups I'm in, and this caught my eye. This picture. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. It's from Lisa Romano, and these 5 points got my brain thinking, and we're bringing stuff up. And I find these 5 points interesting. They're just little one sentences, but I'm going to expand on them greatly and give personal examples because I think it's something that everybody dealing with a narcissist or a borderline should know, just like they should know to subscribe and like my videos and comment. And if they're really cool, and rebellious, they'll send a tip through one of the 3 apps that are in the about section of my channel, which everybody should read too, by the way. But I did them professional now. There's like the actual professional links. I figured out how to do that. This channel's slowly getting more professional. Slowly. But without any more rambling, let's go through 5 weaknesses all narcissists have, according to life coach Lisa Romano. And again, I'm going to read her 5 points, but I'm going to expand on each of them greatly and give examples. Number 1 is the lack of self-analysis. Narcissists will analyze you, but not themselves. And I found this to be true. Narcissists, it's all about manipulation and control. So they want to analyze you to know how to control you. And this is how they analyze people. This is why they usually go for people that are pushovers and can't say no and are empaths and sweet. And yes, ENFJs, I mean you, not just you, but you're their favorite target. INFJs can be too, younger ones that don't trust their intuition because we're empaths too, and we're also introverted, and it's like, ooh, someone's trying to be patient and get us to open up to control you. But again, that INFJs usually get pretty good at calling out narcissists, but one must be able to trust their intuition for that to be so. So they'll narcissists will analyze somebody to be able to get in their head, to know how to control them, to know how to guilt trip them, to know how to bend them to their will, to know how to pull one over on them, to know how they'll respond to a meltdown, to know if they will become completely subservient to their master, because I've said that and I did a video on it. The narcissist, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they are not your partner. They are your master because it's all about them, and your only purpose is to be completely and utterly submissive and subservient to them. The contrast to this, regular people, not that INFJs are regular people, but, semi-normal people that aren't narcissists anyway, like INFJs, we analyze people. It's our intuitive ability, but we also analyze ourselves, a lot. For example, if an INFJ is getting close to somebody and everything's going fine, and all of a sudden, the conversation, instead of her being all touchy-feely, she starts to pull back. The first thought through the INFJ's mind isn't going to be like, oh, fuck this bitch. It's going to be, uh-oh, especially being an INFJ, it's like, what did I say that came out the wrong way? Did the disconnect between, what's in my head and what came out not work? Did I say it in the wrong tone? Did a sarcastic comment not land? Did I take an aggressive stance? Did my body language say something like, what did I do? I must have fucked up. And we'll overthink that for a while. So, it's just an example of analyzing yourself, because narcissists don't do that, because in their mind, they're perfect. And if they're not getting their way, there's something wrong with the other person, because they're perfect and everybody wants to be around them. It's a privilege to be a narcissist slave in their minds. Number 2, they lack humility. They project and feel entitled to exploit the emotions of others, and they rationalize it. Yeah, this is very true. Narcissists are very, 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 very entitled. They feel entitled to people's attention. They feel entitled to power. They feel entitled to treat people however they want to be, and they feel entitled to everybody bowing their whim and basically committing their life and their energy to serving whatever their whim is. And they're very good at exploiting that. Like, narcissists don't care what anybody else is going through emotionally, or, like life challenges, finance, relationship problems, illnesses, that kind of thing. The most trivial thing that's bothering them always must be front and center. So whatever anybody else is going through, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what the narcissist says matters, and everybody should bow and fall in line. And as I've said before, they also love to exploit power. Narcissists love power, and the slightest bit of power will go to their head hardcore. Like, being like a middle manager, at a job in a narcissist's mind, that means like, well, I'm your manager. That means I completely own you on and off the clock, and you must get my almighty approval for everything. Yeah. And they'll rationalize this behavior. They're always, always, always justifying what they do as, well, it's for your own good, or I just know, or I'm the boss. Every they can always make an excuse as to why they're not in the wrong, because in their mind they're never in the wrong. The people in the wrong are the ones that dare to speak up to them. They must be brought down and vilified at all costs because they know we know they can't have that. So, number 4, they lack the ability to work with a we mentality and work to covertly or overtly create dominance over others. Yeah, no shit. So narcissists aren't team players. They very much, as I said, love power, but they have to be the leader. But they're not good leaders. Like, narcissistic bosses are all about themselves. I did a video on narcissistic bosses a while back. You should go watch it. Yeah, it's a good idea. Okay, you're back. So the the narcissistic boss will either, like, they'll overtly expect people to praise them and say how great they are. That's that, no one could do this job and I do so much for all of you. But the reality is that the narcissist throws their employees, their subordinates, under the bus all the time, because it's all about making the narcissist look good. It's like, oh, like, you get paid too much for what you do. I don't get enough, and you could never do what I do. God, I love myself. That kind of shit. And if they're middle management, they'll throw their underlings under the bus to make themselves look good and better brown nose their boss. Like, an example that I would give would be, say there's a middle management narcissist and they manage a dozen employees, and then there's a department head above them. The narcissist middle management would do something that would take $20 away from those 12 people who make less than the narcissist, so then their boss would give them $5. That kind of thing. They'll always, because they'll never take responsibility when they mess up. They'll always scapegoat somebody else, because it's all about them looking good, and they'll their bravado about how good they are and they're perfect and no one could do their job, and they run the place and they're the only ones that work hard. That's the overt nature. The covert nature would be the gaslighting behind the back, and this would typically be to anybody who challenges their absolute authority, or for anybody who speaks out and says, like, you can't do that, that's not within your scope of power, or you're not very good at managing people, you only care about yourself. That's where the covert stuff, or anybody who just doesn't bow to their every whim, that's when they'll go behind the back and do the triangulation tactics to turn people against them, especially those that they see as a threat to themselves. That people are like, well, you're a better leader than the narcissist, you should be in charge. Oh, no, 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 no. Narcissists hold on to power like Saddam Hussein. No, that's one thing that would destroy a narcissist, to be removed from a position of power and have it go to somebody who, like, is an empath, who would actually fight for their employees instead of just fighting for themselves. No, that would be a crushing blow to a narcissist. Did I miss a point in this? Yeah. And again, they love dominance over others. They love to be able to put people down and rationalize, like, well, I'm the boss, I can say what I want. Set up situations where there is no right answer just so they can yell at you. They love creating double standards for those that kiss their ass and throwing the book at those that, dare say they're not perfect. And they just get off on yelling and being able to tell people what to do, and, in this case, holding a job over their heads, especially people who need the money. so that, in doing so, especially because they show favoritism, like, well, if you talk to who I talk to and date who I date and listen to the music I listen to and, buy me drinks after work, I'll make sure that, you're treated right. And if you don't, I'll do to you what I did to him. It's like, if she fucked him, I'm good. Yeah, that kind of thing. So that's that point in a nutshell. And the last one, they have a victim mindset and prefer to keep others locked inside their fantasies or take aim against them for daring not to play the game. Yeah, big point. Narcissists live in a fantasy world. And in that fantasy world, they're perfect and all knowing, and everybody should praise them. And they reward those that, buy into that delusion, that, will buy into, like, oh, okay, you can control every aspect of my life, or, oh yeah, you're the greatest person at this job and no one could ever know as much as you. And, or in some of the situations I've been in, like, yeah, Bruce, yeah, things are exactly the way they were in 1988 and 2016. And they have a victim mindset to any minor setback they have, or anything that they have to take consequences for, or just anything that, upsets them. It's the biggest tragedy that ever happened. The example I usually use is, like, the they have to get a new car battery in their car, and they'll act as if, like somebody important died, or like that they need a serious medical procedure that costs tens of thousands of dollars. The slightest little thing, they'll play the victim mentality. And look, especially they'll do that when somebody equal or higher rank stands up to them and yells at them, oh my God, will the histrionics come out then? Yeah, and then they'll play the victim. But the second ago, the funny thing is most of the time they're the bully. But until somebody challenges them, because like most bullies, they can't handle when somebody screams back at them, especially if they're going to use facts and logic about their behavior and how it's inappropriate, either by law or company policy, or, something that's written down that they can't dispute. Yeah, and they reward people who keep in that fantasy, who treat them like they're some kind of king or queen, because that's how they see themselves. And those that don't play the game, people like me, who, are willing to say things like, if there's a narcissist that's a supervisor, but they're not your supervisor, and they try to tell you what to do, and, you tell them, like, you're not my boss, like, I work in a different department. And that shit sets them up, because they're everybody's boss all the time, on and off the clock, whenever, and whatever they say goes. So those that aren't willing to play the game, and then, they use facts and logic against them, like, I don't work for you, or you can't tell people what to do off the clock. Man, does that piss them off, because that might get some of the people that are buying into it to go, you know, he's right. Like, he's right. And then that'll lead to, oh my God, what's wrong with this narcissistic person? Like, how can they think like that? Like, how can they be so manipulative, exploitative, bullying and all that? And once you go down that rabbit hole, even non-intuitive people start to figure out what a narcissist is and what they're really about. And they'll also realize that the times when they were being kind or nice was all ruse, because they were doing it because there was something in it for them. Narcissists never show, or never help anybody when there's not something in it for them. And that's very important to recognize. So, this was Lisa Romano's list of 5 weaknesses all narcissists have. And like I said, I saw it and it got me thinking, and I'm like, I need to expand on these 5 points quite a bit, because, lists like that are nice, but you need to dig deeper. At least INFJs do. So I did. Remember, trust your intuition. If you see somebody with these 5 weaknesses, they're probably a narcissist, and that means you should deal with them accordingly. And, when it comes to your integrity, you may feel like you should run out of the situation. But if you're seeing people being abused by a narcissist, your integrity is going to compel you to help, especially if you're an INFJ with a hero complex like me. Thank you for sticking around till the end. Please like and subscribe. It does not cost anything. Comment below. I answer back most of the time. And, if you really, really want to be a mensch, you can send a tip through the links in the About section. Thank you.